Backstage, there was nervous chatter, pacing around, and final directions were being given. Everyone was pressed and polished in their finest attire as they waited for their turn to go on stage. The excitement and nervousness that filled the air was almost palpable. We didn't know one another well and were still deciding how much to offer in our conversations, yet one thing was uniting us. As each person's turn came, we walked on stage, turned, dropped our arms behind us, and something special happened. Clean white cloth was placed on our shoulders. From that moment on, this cloth would announce to anyone around us that we were medical students. It's hard to believe that today, 1,371 days ago, we had our white coat ceremony. Today, like that day over 1,000 days ago, we are once again filled with excitement and anticipation because, like before, something special is happening. Today is the day we commence. On the behalf of the class of 2012, I have the honor and privilege of welcoming you to our medical school graduation. The first thing that I would like to do is acknowledge that we would not be here today without the help of others. There are many people that deserve recognition. Some are in this auditorium, others are not. We would like to recognize and thank them all. First are the many family and friends that have supported us. Some of you have supported us for just a short time, while others have been there from our first day in this world. You are our beloved mothers and fathers, our devoted husbands, wives, and significant others, our brothers, our sisters, our children, our family. You are our friends and mentors. You took part in the behind-the-scenes portion of our education. You dealt with us during the short periods we were away from medicine. You have given selflessly of your time, listened to our stories and complaints, waited patiently for us to return phone calls, dealt with our habitual absenteeism and our ever-changing schedule, and listened to us go on and on about medicine, even though you may have had no idea what we were talking about. You have helped us through our low times and were there to cheer us up. You have also been there along the way to celebrate our successes. You have made a great contribution to our lives and our education. For your love, we thank you. Next, on behalf of our class, we express our thanks to the many other people who have made our medical school experience a success. You're the educators, the professors, the staff at OSU, our attendings, the administrators, the Oklahoma Osteopathic Association, and other associations, the Board of Regents, local and state political leaders, and the many others who have supported us in our endeavor to become physicians here tonight. Many of you have become our supporters, our mentors, and our friends. Many of you we did not know well, and although we may have not seen your actions firsthand, we appreciate you nonetheless, and we thank all of you for your time and effort towards our success. I would like to spend the rest of my time allowing you to become acquainted with our class. I hope you will enjoy as we reminisce on our medical school days. These last 1,371 days have become, for most of us, if not all of us, the most event-filled 4 years of our life. I would like to begin this nostalgic look back on our medical school experience by starting with our introduction to medical school, the first day of Dr. Meek's histology class. This was one of our first medical school lectures and proved the adage that medical school is like trying to drink from a fire hose. That first day, without any delay from formalities, Dr. Meek began going through slides and information so fast that most of us were struggling to literally stay on the same page of notes. That first lecture was over 100 slides long, each containing about 10 pieces of information, and Dr. Meek covered it in 50 minutes. Welcome to medical school. It was not just his lecture that left an impression on us. Dr. Meek was also calling us by name. He had attended our white coat ceremony and had been studying a copy of our class composite, working hard to memorize all our names. He was not the only one to memorize our names, and that is not the only example of the incredible people we had the opportunity of interacting with at OSU-Com. That first day of medical school was the opening note of the song that would become first year, a song that was filled with sharps and flats, drawn-out pauses, frantic overtures, and somber melodies. That first semester, we smelled like formaldehyde from hours and hours in the anatomy lab, trying to figure out how and what to dissect. We learned microbiology and had micronutrients tested by SpectraCell, thanks to Dr. Benchbach. We had our first lessons in reading x-rays, MRIs, and CT scans, And though we didn't see pathology, we learned the importance of recognizing mom. To catch everybody up on what the idea of mom is, one of our clinical professors taught us that looking at x-rays and CTs was easy. He said it was like looking to a crowd full of people, a crowd full of women. We may not know who the women are, but we can easily tell if they are mom or not mom. Using this same idea, all we need to know is what normal looks like, and if it's not normal or not mom, that is when you need to find someone who knows what they are doing. We were introduced to osteopathic medicine and started our first lessons in feeling and healing with our hands. First semester, we were also adapting to being around each other for extended amounts of time. We had silly debates about the dress code and what professionalism means, issues that seemed of monumental importance at the time. We learned the importance of TQs and bonus points. It was also a time when new friendships began. First semester, we were all adapting to new things, a new way to study, a new way to spend our time, a new way to cope with stress. Second semester brought no reprieve from stress, and 2 classes had our utmost attention, neuroanatomy and neuroanatomy lab. This class and its lab, like the biblical Goliath, carried a reputation of being almost unconquerable, and it seemed as though our other classes, physiology, microbiology, and OMM, were constantly in its shadow. Neuroanatomy had our full attention as we learned about fascicles and decussations, MCAs and PCAs, the circle of Willis, the homunculus, and Brown-Secord syndrome. For most of us who had flown through classes with ease, we were slowed to a steady march as we continued through the semester. As our heads spun trying to absorb the information, we felt that we had right way and wrong way eyes. However, as all things with a beginning do, even neuroanatomy had an end, and with its end in our other classes and second semester was over, and we had accomplished something great. We had finished our first year of medical school. After a summer's holiday and its much-needed diversion, we were second years, and as such, we took our first self-appointed duty to extend our wealth of knowledge and advice to the first-year students. They walked the halls with that edgy, wild-eyed first-year look that all of us had worn just 1 year before. To our delight, they looked up to us and asked us questions about everything. We relished the experience as they took our advice and devoured it. Second year was no exception as we continued to drink regularly from the fire hose of knowledge. But as the saying goes, that which we persist in doing becomes easier to do, not that the nature of the thing has changed, but our power to do so has increased. The song of medical school continued, but the tune had changed to one that was less frantic and more rhythmic. Second year was filled with classes that carried deep clinical undertones, clinical problem solving, clinical epidemiology, and clinical skills, to name a few. We were also introduced to Poppy. He was our guide to linking information in textbooks to medical disease. He would let us know what was big time on boards and shared his precious pearls with us in lecture. He teased us in class and prayed for us in his office. He even told us what was going to happen today. He told us that today would be the day our short white coats will magically grow to be long ones. In second year, we became more confident in our osteopathic medicine and started to learn from our first clinical encounters. This year was to focus on the clinical side of science, but let's not forget about some of the diversion outside of class. Stress management, rural health fairs, club meetings enticing us in with food, toy drives, food drives, cans of Bonanza, the scrub run, mini med school, DO day at the Capitol, dodgeball, flag football, club spines roast, and the end of the year softball game, to name just a few. We worked together, we volunteered together, we laughed together. These events added to our experience and helped our friendship to grow. As second year came to an end, we were filled with the excitement of being in the hospitals and working with patients. Third and fourth year felt like what we had come to medical school for, real-life patient interaction. How excited and nervous we were in those days, doing our first history and physical, scrubbing for our first surgery, seeing chest pain. Everything seemed new and thrilling. Finally, classroom time was over, and we were now part of the treatment of disease, instead of just learning about it. These 2 clinical years also brought a change to our class song. As our exposure to medicine increased, our exposure to each other decreased. Our roads began to diverge, and we were no longer together every day. Everyone was creating their own movements to the song with different melodies and frequent improvisations. There were times when we were together and we got to know each other better. Others in our class we did not see for months. Today we are here together for what may be the last time. The time we have enjoyed this week with each other has been our final encore of medical school. After today, we will no longer be classmates, at least not in the way we have been these past 4 years. We will still be colleagues and will always be tied together with our memories. Some of us will continue to work side by side during residency, but for the most part, we will share goodbyes, part, and begin our new journeys. Before we part, I would issue our class a challenge: to remember, to excel, and to be grateful. As we continue onward through our careers, I challenge us to remember our difficulties and hardships. Though at the time, our difficulties may have brought us gloom, in the future, let us reflect on these experiences and acknowledge them as integral to our growth in achieving success. Remember the feeling of being an intimidated medical student and show sympathy to those coming behind us. It's not about giving back to settle a score, but paying forward for the benefit of the whole. Remember times when others have given us grace and showed compassion, and do likewise. Let us especially remember to show kindness to our patients. Next, I challenge us to excel in the things we do, both in our professional and private lives. This class right here is full of some of the most kind, most giving, most genuine, and smartest people I have had the honor of knowing. We are truly a unique class capable of greatness. We are the class that came together and set up tutoring groups for 2 of our hardest classes first year, anatomy and neuroanatomy. These tutoring groups took time from personal study in an effort to benefit the whole. This is something which had never been done before and has not been replicated. We have proved that we are a class that is capable of excellence. I believe that in the not-too-distant future, we will have classmates that will indeed achieve great things. They will be pioneers in techniques and have procedures and instruments named after them. We may soon be teaching about the Craneville sign, Ahmed syndrome, using Stroberg's criteria, or seeing news about what the Baker Foundation is doing. Let us not settle for average when we are capable of excellence. Last, I challenge us to be grateful. If we had lived in another time period or part of the world, we would not have been so fortunate as to be here becoming physicians today. Let us be grateful for the opportunities that we have been given and to the people who have helped us get to this point. Let us remember them and not forget them in the hustle and bustle of life. As we maintain our gratitude, we will experience its wonderful grounding effect, and our ability to do good in this world will be amplified. This class of 2012 is full of bright minds and people who are going to make a difference. I am honored to have been counted a member of this class and will cherish the memories. As we leave this day of commencement, let us not forget the song that has become our medical school symphony. The people who we were, the people we have now become. As we venture forth, let your songs be full of remembrance, excellence, and gratitude. There is one last thing to say on this, our day of triumph. We came, we saw, we're done. Thank you.